What's going on, YouTube? Bacon here, bringing you another video. This one gonna be my week 8 matchup for the ABC. This is the 8th and final week of the regular season. From the thumbnail, you guys can see I'm sitting at 7-0, sitting pretty for playoffs. Guaranteed a first round bye, but not quite guaranteed the first overall seed. And I'd still like to nab that if possible. So definitely still trying this game, although I am bringing some kind of different stuff, some more fun stuff this week. Just to mix it up a little bit. It's pretty difficult for me to drop the #1 overall seed, even if I lose this match. Zenther would have to win by a lot, and I'd have to lose by a lot for me to drop the #1 overall seed. So I feel like pretty comfortable that I'm going to get it going into this game, regardless of whether I win or lose. So I've decided to mix it up a little bit this week, just for fun. On the other side, we've got Board, who is somewhat in the mix, I think, in the kind of a mess of a playoff race for the 6th overall seed, which is the final seed that makes playoffs. There's a lot of teams sitting in the 3 and 4-ish type region, and somebody's got to win and try and get in there. So Board is still in the conversation here. The team, by the way, for Board is the Antarctic Arboks. I don't think I mentioned at the beginning of the clip there, but just really quickly going to go over through what they've got available. They got Mega Lopunny, Toxapex, Thundurus, Incarnate, Klefki, Haxorus, Darmanitan, Necrozma, Mandibuzz, Lycanroc Dusk, Decidueye, Tauros, Acelgor, and Darkinium Z. Darkinium Z, I guess mostly pairing with things like Necrozma, can run like Z Dark Pulse or Z Knockoff to hit Psychic types. Thundurus Incarnate also gets Dark Pulse, so you could run a knockoff, so you could run Z on that. I guess theoretically you could run Z Mandibuzz if you really wanted to, or Z Crunch Lycanroc Dusk. I don't think it really makes much sense to run a non-Lycanium Z move on Lycanroc, if I'm being quite honest, because a lot of the moves that it gets for coverage get Tough Claws boosts anyways, which you'd be essentially negating by running the Z move. But Z Crunch is an option you could run on that thing if you wanted to. Basically, kind of looking at the matchup, the big setup threats are Haxorus and Necrozma, no doubt. Haxorus hadn't come to a game prior to this one. You can see it's actually on the other side of the screen there, but it actually hadn't come to a game during the season to this point. But I thought I had a pretty good matchup versus me, so I'm not too surprised to see it. Necrozma also kind of like a potent setup threat, can run Rock Polish Weakness Policy type sets, it can run Calm Mind sets. Like Calm Mind Iron Defense is one kind of cancer set that it can run if you don't have a dark type. Stuff like that are pretty potent. And then as far as wall breakers go, Darmanitan hits like a truck, and he's got a good offensive pivot into it, and something like Thundurus Incarnate. Decidueye can also U-turn out into Darmanitan and keep me in a weird kind of U-turn combo thing going, and I don't like that too much. And of course, Mega Lopunny is always a really potent offensive threat. It's a great speed tier and can really rip apart more offensive, kind of fragile Pokemon like my Swellow and things like that. My Infernape too. Just Fake Out plus Return being a pretty potent combination from that Pokemon. And the Fake Out pairs nicely with something like a Toxapex's Toxic Spikes, which, as you can see, didn't end up coming on the other side of the field. So those are just kind of the main things that popped out while I was looking at this matchup, and I'll get right into what I built here as well. So like I mentioned, I brought some kind of different stuff this week. I've got Nightshade the Gliscor coming back, Toxicroak Poison Heal like normal, but this time I'm bringing a Dual Dance Gliscor. I've got Swords Dance, Rock Polish, Earthquake, and Ice Fang. Close to max HP, a little bit in speed, and the rest into attack, so I'm not max attack on this thing with the Jelly Nature. Not max attack, like I said, but I wanted the HP just to basically live some hits and set up on his team. If I can get +2/+2, I'm in a really good position to sweep, actually, because his team's not like super bulky, with the exception of stuff like Toxapex, which doesn't appreciate Earthquake, Klefki doesn't appreciate Earthquake, Mandibuzz doesn't appreciate Ice Fang, although it can take it, but Mandibuzz I don't anticipate to be able to do too much back to me. Bar, I guess, Foul Plague will probably do some good damage if I'm at +2. So whittling that thing down is going to be kind of nice for me. But I really liked the Gliscor set this week. It's something a little bit different, like I mentioned, but I think it actually has a pretty good matchup on paper here. I think the HP I had in there, by the way, was to live an Ice Punch from Lopunny. That way, if I go +2, I can set up like a +2 speed on it. If his team's chipped down, and just sweep from there with Earthquake. Something like that was kind of the idea I had in mind, just so I didn't have to fear the Lopunny too much. Next up, we got Winston the Reuniclus, bring another set that's it's not unstandard, if that makes sense. It's offensive Trick Room Reuniclus with Life Orb, Trick Room, Psychic, Thunder, and Shadow Ball. Max HP, max special attack, Quiet Nature. It's not like OTR Reuniclus is so uncommon of a thing, but it's something I haven't brought this season. I've generally opted for bulkier type Reuniclus sets. I brought Rocky Helmet versus Jeff, brought Assault Vest versus Matt in week 1. Might have brought Assault Vest twice, actually, now that I think about it. Oh no, I brought Calm Mind 1 week, but it never really hit the field. So I brought some kind of like bulkier type Reuniclus sets. This one's a little more offensive. Like, I could have run the same Reuniclus set that I ran versus Jeff and just given the Mega Lopunny the Mega Medicham treatment with the Rocky Helmet. It really wouldn't, Max Phys Def, it really wouldn't be able to do anything to Reuniclus, and I could just pivot in and chip that thing down. But, like I mentioned, wanted to try out some different stuff this week. So running the offensive Trick Room with Psychic, Thunder, Shadow Ball. Psychic, just for stab, hits pretty much everything really hard. After rocks, it KOs Darmanitan. I believe it KOs Haxorus. Basically all of his offensive type mons will get whacked by a Psychic. Psychic also, of course, hitting the Toxapex really nicely. And the Mega Lopunny. Thunder is there specifically for the Mana Buzz. I was really anticipating Mana Buzz this match as a way to kind of shut down my Reuniclus. If I was like a Calm Mind set, you could run Taunt Mana Buzz and shut me down. And Thunder is really the best move that Reuniclus gets to hit that. It doesn't get like Thunderbolt or anything. It gets Shockwave, but that does pitiful damage. After rocks, Thunder should guaranteed OHKO the Mana Buzz unless he's running a crazy amount of special defense. So basically the idea is get Reuniclus in on something like Lopunny. Probably not on a hard switch just because I'm not as physically bulky as I was for when I faced the Medicham. But maybe bring it in after Lopunny kills something or off a U-turn or something like that. Get in the Reuniclus and then just whack something with, or set up Trick Room and then whack something with the whatever the super effective move is going to be. Shadow Ball on onto the Necrozma is obviously a little bit dangerous because it could be a weakness policy type set, but Life Orb Shadow Ball is actually doing a ton to Necrozma, especially an offensive one. So it's not really going to want to take it either. It could potentially pick up a good late game sweep here with Reuniclus or do some breaking early in the match. Weakening something like Mana Buzz would be really nice for my Gliscor in the back. Like I mentioned, he didn't end up bringing it, but it would be really nice for Gliscor in the back if I could weaken the Mana Buzz or remove it with a Thunder. Next up, we got a more standard set for what I've been bringing, the Tyranitar, the Mega Tyranitar. Coming back once again for the Sand. Got Crunch, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, max HP, good amount of speed in there, and then the rest into physical attack. Pretty standard stuff from the Tyranitar here. I brought offensive rocker Tyranitar several times this season, and the Sand is really nice for the next Pokemon on my team, which is Monty the Sandslash. Sandslash is the only Pokemon on my team that hasn't picked up a kill so far this season, so like, okay, I have to bring it to the last matchup. It's actually got a pretty decent matchup on paper. I've got Leftovers, Sand Rush, Knockoff, Rapid Spin, Toxic, and Earthquake. Max HP, good amount of speed, and the rest into physical attack. I could have probably gotten away with a more offensive variant of Sandslash, but I wanted kind of like a secondary Lopunny check. And I'm not doing like too much damage to things like Necrozma anyways, and I'd rather be able to be effective outside of Sand as well, which is something that did not happen at all the first time I brought Sandslash. I brought it once this season, I believe, and I ended up sacking it off that game before it even really clicked a move, I think, which is unfortunate. But this time around, I said, okay, if I'm going to bring it, it's got to be somewhat useful outside of Sand, just in case Tyranitar goes down or whatever. I want Sandslash to be able to do something and maybe pick up a kill this match. So that was kind of the idea behind the Sandslash, being a little more defensive there. Next up, we got yet another bulky pivot Rotom Wash set. We got Rocky Helmet, Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, and Hydro Pump. Rocky Helmet being there primarily to deal with the Lopunny, although the U-turn chip on something like Darmanitan would be really nice. If he's U-turning around, taking Rocky Helmet chip damage and plus rocks and stuff like that, Sandstorm damage, that thing's going to get worn down pretty quickly. Pretty much the same Rotom set I've been bringing, except sometimes I bring Defog, sometimes I bring Pain Split, sometimes I bring Toxic. Like, I switch around the moves a little bit, but I've almost always got Volt Switch and Hydro Pump. And then in this case, I decided Will-O-Wisp was kind of the best option for burning something like the Haxorus, which otherwise I don't do too much to. And Pain Split because I'm running Rocky Helmet and I won't have leftovers or berry recovery over the course of the match. If I'm switching in on U-turns consistently from Darmanitan, I'm anticipating it kind of worn down. So I'd like to get some of that health back with Pain Split and weaken some of his walls or such. Max HP, a little bit of speed, and the rest into physical defense. And then last up here, we got Rivali Sucks, the Swellow coming back. I think that's 2 weeks in a row for Swellow, with Choice Scarf this week. U-Turn, Heat Wave, Boom Burst, and Hurricane. Choice Scarf just to outspeed things like the Lopunny and the Acelgor, or a potential Scarf Darmanitan, +1 Haxorus, +2 Necrozma I can actually outspeed with Choice Scarf Swellow. So I felt like it was pretty important in this matchup. As a Choice Scarfer, obviously I'm going to lose a good bit of damage from not running specs, but like I mentioned, being able to outspeed some of those threats I felt was more important in the long run here. So that's for the team going into it. All that being said, let's just get right into the match here. My opponent brought the Mega Lopunny, Necrozma, Acelgor, Darmanitan, Haxorus, and Tauros. So very happy to see no Mandibuzz. It's going to make Gliscor's job a little bit easier down the stretch. Gliscor actually looks phenomenal right now. If I can weaken or remove the Acelgor, because Ice Fang's not going to do too much to that thing, even at +2. But yeah, basically anticipating that to be a pretty standard Lopunny set. Some kind of setup Necrozma. Not really sure if it would be Calm Mind or like a Rock Polish set versus me. The Acelgor I'm expecting to be something like Choice Specs or Life Orb. Darmanitan I'm thinking Choice Scarf, DD Haxorus, and then probably some version of a Sheer Force Tauros is what I was thinking. Maybe it has Flamethrower for my Scizor or something like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Just kind of looking at the matchup here, I really didn't want him to lead Lopunny, and Rotom Wash has a really good matchup versus that, because I can obviously throw off a Will-O-Wisp. Even if he fake outs me, he's going to be taking some Rocky Helmet Chip. So it just seems like a pretty free lead Rotom to me to just fire off a Will-O-Wisp. As he does show the fake out and does a little bit of chip damage to me. Obviously without the leftovers, that's kind of unfortunate, but any chip on Lopunny is good chip to put it in range of a Gliscor potentially being unboosted late in the game. And I'm just going to Volt Switch out here, expecting him to anticipate a Will-O-Wisp and get in his Acelgor. I don't actually have great switch-ins for Specs Bug Buzz, and here I have a couple options. I could go into Swellow, but I kind of want my rocks up, and also obviously Tyranitar is going to threaten this Acelgor and not die from anything it goes for, excuse me. And here, kind of not wanting to risk him just bug buzzing twice because it will knock me out. I'm just going to straight crunch. Once again, a situation I've been in a lot with Tyranitar this season is just kind of clicking the offensive move and watching something die. So I am going to take a good bit of damage off on my Tyranitar here, which I wouldn't have had to if I had gone Swellow there. But I'd rather just get rid of the Acelgor here, and I had the option at least to get up rocks if I thought he was going to switch. But now my Tyranitar is a little bit weakened, and I've got to keep it relatively healthy in the back for my Sand Slash, because obviously without the sand it becomes a little bit less useful. So I'm just going to switch out here. Lopunny comes in. I could go out into Rotom, but I'll probably be 2-hit KO'd by High Jump Kick, depending on his rolls and stuff, and with the Sandstorm damage I really don't want to deal with that. So I'm just going to go right out into Sand Slash. Obviously Sand Slash will also get 2-hit KO'd here, but I'm going to outspeed the Lopunny because Sand is still up. So I can just fire off a real nice Earthquake here with the Sand Slash. And I'm going to get some massive chip damage off on this Lopunny as he maybe overpredicts or miscalcs or something and goes for the Ice Punch, which does not knock me out. I mean, that was probably a roll. I actually didn't calc it afterwards. It was probably a roll to knock me out there, but I do manage to live. So Sand Slash here, still living, still outspeeding this Lopunny, and I'm just going to get to click Earthquake once again as he goes out into the Haxorus to try and get it set up. Getting some chip off on this thing's really nice to put it in range of Scarf Swellow. Earthquake plus... oh, actually the Sandstorm's going to end this turn, but the Earthquake damage off is really nice. Obviously now I'm not going to outspeed this Haxorus anymore, so Monty's barely living here, going for another Earthquake, hoping for a crit to pick up a KO on this Haxorus, and I'm going to go for that Earthquake, and I'm not going to get the crit. Oh, poor Sand Slash, not going to pick up the KO, and it's really not very useful for me to keep around at this point. I really don't have anything good to switch into a +1 Haxorus right here, so I'm just going to let him knock me out. There's no reason to risk my Swellow here, which is the way I'm going to revenge kill this Haxorus. So unfortunately, Sand Slash is going to go down without a kill. So only Mon on the team without a kill, continues to be only Mon on the team without a kill. Maybe it'll get one in playoffs. Who knows? But not today. Swellow's just going to come out, like I mentioned, and revenge kill this Haxorus. Coming in pretty clutch that I ran Choice Scarf here, because otherwise this might have actually been a little bit of a problem for me, since my Reuniclus isn't particularly bulky. Brings out the Necrozma, and regardless of what kind of setup move he's going to go for here, I don't want to stay in with my Swellow. If it's Calm Mind, that's bad for me. Even if he's Weakness Polish or like a Rock Polish set, I don't think I'm going to 2-hit KO him with Boom Burst since I am Scarf instead of Specs. So I'm just going to swap out into my Tyranitar here and sack it off. It turns out he's Calm Mind, and I see no item, so I'm thinking, okay, he's probably either a Cobra Berry or a Weakness Policy. I'm just going to pop it with Crunch here. Turns out to be Weakness Policy, but he is slower than me, I noticed, so it looks like probably like Max Fizdef, Calm Mind, Necrozma, and unfortunately board forgets about Moonlight only healing half of the normal HP in Sandstorm, so he's actually in range of another Crunch now, and like I mentioned, I do outspeed, but he doesn't have any good switch-ins for Crunch. Tyranitar just going to pick up another kill here, so 3 Crunches, 2 kills for Tyranitar. Really unfortunate that board forgot about the Sandstorm there, but Tyranitar going to be able to pick up the kill. I was actually really worried when I saw the thing go for Calm Mind because I was really anticipating a Rock Polish type set, and it turned out not to be. So I was like, oh man, do I just lose now? But I don't, obviously, because I ended up outspeeding. Lopunny comes out here, goes for High Jump Kick. I'm going to sack off Tyranitar. He unfortunately misses the High Jump Kick, which I think in the long run probably really only would have changed differential here. But I was content to sack off the Tyranitar there anyways. Lopunny's really not too much of a threat considering I still have the Scar Swellow in the back, and it actually would have been great setup fodder for Trick Room Reuniclus to come in here. So a little unfortunate for him, obviously, to miss the High Jump Kick, but I don't think in the long run it really had a huge impact. Taurus going to come out here. I don't see Intimidate, so I'm guessing Life Orb, Sheer Force. Goes for Iron Head to knock out the Tyranitar. No big deal. This is actually a great time for me to try and set up my Gliscor because despite its kind of wider range of coverage options, it does not. Tauros does not get access to an Ice type move, so unless he's running janky Hidden Power Ice or something, it's really not going to be doing too much to me. Goes for Payback, and you see the Life Orb damage there. Obviously, Gliscor's natural physical defense is pretty nice, so I am going to be out of range of another one here as I go for the SD, and he's going to go for another Payback. Just getting me down a little bit lower here, down to 29%. I am out of range of another one, although the way Payback works normally is that it doubles damage after you, if you get hit during the turn. I go for Earthquake here. Since I'm not max attack, I actually don't knock out the Tauros, and he goes for Payback, and I'm like, oh, I die, but I don't die. And I was like, what? Like, I don't really... I'm gonna have to go back and look at that, because I'm a little confused about why it didn't do so much damage. Maybe Payback is only, like, it guarantees goes second, and then it does double damage or something, so it was already doing the same. I don't know. I was thinking Payback was going to do more damage to me that turn than it did otherwise, but it did not. So, Gliscor able to live that. He's just going to go for Z-Snatch with his Darmanitan, which is the only reason it outspeeds me here. Another kind of weird thing I was looking at, I was like, what the heck? How did that thing outspeed me? But it was because Snatch is a priority move. Going for the Z-Snatch, get +2 speed, but not going to matter because Nightshade the Gliscor is going to finish off the game there with an Earthquake. Glad to see the Dual Dance Gliscor worked, even though it only picked up 2 kills at the end there. It was at least nice to use something a little bit different. Once again, Reuniclus doesn't get to hit the field. I feel like that's been pretty common. Well, I shouldn't say pretty common. I think it's come to like 4 games. 2 it didn't hit the field, and 2 it did. So it was really effective in the 2 I used it. Like I liked having it on the team. I liked building with it. I just didn't end up bringing it as frequently as maybe I thought I was going to. And it just really didn't get a whole lot of play during the regular season. Hopefully it can be a kind of nice threat for me in the playoffs here. I think one kind of aspect of the team is I brought, I believe, 2 or 3 of my OU Mons to every game this season. I'm pretty certain. So they're pretty consistently taking up slots, and then things like Scizor and Infernape are my more popular UU Mons. So that's like 4 to 6 or like 4 to 5 spots each week that I've been going to my OU Mons plus Scizor and Infernape. So it's been kind of tough getting all the other stars on the team to shine. Like, Reuniclus is a really, really good Pokemon that I just haven't gotten a chance to use very much this season, unfortunately. And like I mentioned in the last video, I think a lot of my lower tiers I really like too, like Shaman, Dragalge, that just haven't come to a lot of games because I haven't needed them. Looking forward to some of the playoff matchups. I definitely could. With the win here, we have locked up that #1 overall seed, regardless of the result of Zenther versus Lord Z. So, #1 overall seed for us, which is great because that means I don't have to play Zen or Jeff until a potential finals match. So I get the first round bye. And then I'll play the lowest seed remaining of the 4, 5, and 6. Obviously, if the 3 seed wins, which is Jeff, he's going to go on to play Zenther. And I guess I can kind of spoil that for you guys too, because since I didn't have a first round matchup, there's not going to be a video until round 2. Jeff did win his first round matchup against the 6th seed, which I believe was Swede and the Dakota Muse. I think Jeff won that game 6-0 actually, pretty much dominated with Scar and Bliss. So he's moving on to fight Zenther in a really hype semifinals rematch. They played during the regular season and Jeff picked up the win. So a potential finals matchup with Jeff on the horizon. Wouldn't mind playing Zenther either. They're both very good battlers, and I haven't actually gotten to play Zen this season, even though I played Jeff during the regular season. So if I can make it to the finals, be really happy to play either of them. But first on tap, we got an important matchup with our semifinal game versus Milo and the Pueblo Manectrics. They beat Matt, the head of the league, in round 1. Very close game. I think it was a 1-0 actually in Milo's favor. So definitely a tough matchup on the slate for us coming up. They got some pretty scary things on the team. I'll go into a little bit more detail, obviously, in my next video. But that does conclude the regular season for the ABC. Thank you guys for sticking around for this, and please feel free to come back for playoffs, as hopefully we can pick up a couple wins here and claim our first championship here in the ABC in the first season. And it'd be really nice to finish the season undefeated as well. It's something I haven't been able to do in my other leagues. But yeah, thank you very much for watching to this point if you did, and have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.